Damn, that's mean,
All right.
bro. That's mean.
No, it's not.
Are we
mean.
on? Are we on? Are we?
We
we're
are
hot?
on, fellas.
You gotta do the sound clap to get the audio right.
Wait, isn't it like this? What?
No,
Why are
dude,
you doing the Hulk clap, man? I mean,
because that's
blowing
very
people away. It's supposed to be a
that's
little
very
chop.
1945 old school Hollywood.
You sure? Whoa, what do they do now?
It just clap. It just boom. That's it, man. Hey, look, listen, dude. You're a YouTuber. You gotta get that shit straight.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be
Somebody
like
just raised the bar. Wow.
old timer. So
No, not at all.
Just want to do it the old school way, okay?
The old school way.
All right, so we got to share some love
welcome
out there.
back. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Yes. Hey, I told you we suck at intros, right?
Well, you have to always start. You just hit record. So it's just the first thing we always, hey, man, welcome back, everyone. Thank you for subscribing. We got like 12 of y'all and appreciate it. Ken, I think we got like, what do we get? Some cool questions, right?
We do. We have a bunch of them, and we're going to try to get through as many as we can tonight. There are so many.
Really? wait, hold on. So we know that Ernesto's son's friends have some interest with these questions.
Oh, yeah. So
but are these all okay? First of all, are they just, or are we? Did we get some random questions like from?
Don't know, don't care. I'm gonna treat these as real questions, and I would also
AMA almost.
I should encourage anybody that watches our videos. If you have questions or topics you want us to talk about, let us know. Drop it in the comments because we can talk about anything.
Just about anything.
True.
That's a promise. All right.
Minus an NDA here or there.
That is true.
Just saying.
Wait, but like, what's an NDA? You need to define that for the audience because it sounds like the audience that we've got is skewing a little younger than.
That's true.
So you need to define what an NDA is.
Freddie, lawyer guy, can you explain
that?
that?
Lawyer guy. Lawyer guy.
I am not the lawyer guy. I have all risk, so that's terrible. You want your lawyer to be a little bit conservative, right?
Maybe.
So a non-disclosure agreement. What happens is you sign this usually with companies. It allows them and you to keep a bond of secrecy about your work. And it is somewhat enforceable by law, dependent on many different factors. That's the lawyer side. So it depends how good your lawyer is. And then that's how much you pay per hour, you know. And then yeah. So, I've signed a few. I know that Ken has and Ernesto must have. What's the last one you signed, Ernesto?
I can't tell you. I can't.
You signed an NDA on that.
Good, very good.
Right? Did I pass?
Gotcha.
Well, Freddie, so typically, right, people who don't know about NDAs, when would one sign one?
I don't know. Wait, say that again. I think a lot of people would know now, right?
Not to our audience of 12-year-olds. Come on.
I don't know. They may be signing NDAs with each other. The reason I say this is because pop culture has like these pop stars have people like sign NDAs, turn in their phones before they even turn it into a party. So like that's why I'm assuming at like 12 they probably already know a little bit about it, but don't know. You know, it's actually like normally it's like an actual contract and it's a couple pages. You gotta read through it. Tells you what you can and can't say, and you know outside of the company. And
what are we, Trump?
What?
Are we Trump? Trump makes everybody sign NDAs.
Henry, that was going to be one of my punchlines, dude. You just killed it for me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right.
He beat you to
so that is true. That is true. Everybody who worked for the Trump White House had to sign an NDA, boys and girls.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Wait, but is that true about previous administrations though?
No.
Really?
The good thing is a judge actually ruled on it and dissolved it. and found it like, no, you can't do
Yeah,
that.
it's all public. You're doing public duty. You can't. It's not.
Yeah,
private. It's no longer
you're-
private. It's just, that's
the
why it's
president
called public
right?
service.
Is the president considered a public servant?
Yes.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. So typically, whatever the president writes, says, everything, it should go into the library, right? To the presidential library. It should be public record. But the last administration, not so much.
There are some things that won't be called redacted, because there are certain things that we don't tell our citizens because they may be secret or top secret, so on and so forth. So,
all right. So I want to wrap up the NDA conversation. And this is something all our listeners should know, including little boys and girls. The most, I guess, typical situation where you assign an NDA is one day when you grow up and you're looking for a job and you have an interview. And during the course of the interview, you may talk about stuff that is private information, secret information pertaining to the company. So you sign an NDA so that if you guys happen to talk about it, then you are legally bound to not tell others outside of the interview of what you guys talked about. So, done. Nice wrap up there.
But for the government, there's always the Freedom of the Information Act. So, aha.
Ernesto's wondering what FOIA is.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, when we start talking about like rabbit holes, right? Like that's usually how it starts. Somebody pulls a shovel out and just goes and starts digging that rabbit hole.
I don't like legal rabbit holes because, damn, you never know. You want to just avoid them altogether. I don't want to go down this hole, Henry. Let's cut it off right now.
We're not lawyers. We're not doctors. So we'll leave it as it is.
Correct. Anyways, let's get to our first question, shall we?
Doctor of Destruction.
All right. So the first question comes in from, you know what? I'm not even going to say the name.
You have to try.
It's a real name.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll start it off easy. Where did you guys meet each other?
Who would start? You two should start. You, Ken and Henry should start since you know each other the longest. I think. No? Oh, or maybe you know Ernesto longer. Ooh.
Wait, no.
Definitely.
Okay, fine. That's true. No, I think
I am.
Wait, who's the anchor, right?
What's that?
Who's the
Henry.
anchor? Who's Henry?
Henry.
Am I? I guess so, huh? Well, Ken and I worked together at a .com, and actually, I will leave it to Mr. Shum to talk about the first time I met him because I think it was a fairly memorable day. I will leave that to. So I used to work with Ken.
Yes, we were both younger then, aspiring to be greater men than we were.
Older, but sorry.
But yeah, no, the first day that I met Henry, you have to understand a bit of my mindset. It was me joining a company, right? And it was probably a week into the job. And I happened to walk into the manufacturing side of the house for this company, for this .com. And so I come from like a corporate background, right? Where people don't wear ties and stuff, but they have a certain etiquette. And there are certain rules you abide by. Everybody just feels a bit more cordial, right? A bit more respectful. And so when I first walked into this side of the company, it felt very different. It was a manufacturing site. And when I first settled into a shared office and sat down with my laptop, in walks Henry. And I don't know what had him like going the wrong way that day. Took one look at me and it said, "Oh, another fucking asshole," or something like that. All I remember is fucking asshole. I don't know what happened before or after, but that's all I remember. And I thought to myself, what the hell am I doing here? But
That's a great intro.
Yeah.
I gotta say.
Did you have a bad day? Do you recall this?
Oh, I remember the day. I still, because it was one of those days where you sit around and then you're like, you're dealing with a product that costs like pennies, but we're spending thousands of dollars dealing with the issue, which is really stupid. And then that's why, and then nobody is willing to help you other than the people around me, but except for they can't. And they supposedly send somebody from corporate to come down to help me, and I'm looking at like another fucking asshole here.
Oh, so you literally knew some asshole was coming from corporate.
Yeah. So that's how it began.
Wow, you must have a really bad day that day. If you said.
Oh, because everybody's telling me, oh, we'll take care of it, except for I'm the one who's fighting the fire. I have a entire manufacturing floor of around 50 people standing around looking at me like, how do we solve the problem? So if each person is cost $10 an hour, we have 50 people. That is how much money per hour, right? And we were down. So
yeah, so it took me a bit to warm up to Henry. I first had to practice and speak to the same language, right? So started with saying ass just by itself. It felt okay. And I started saying hole by itself. It felt okay. And after a while, after I got to know Henry, I was saying asshole all the time.
yeah.
It just rolled off the tongue.
Exactly.
Nice.
So that's how.
Wait.
Wait, there's more? There's more? What?
No, I was just wondering. So, like, how many days into this company were you?
I think it was 1 or 2 weeks. So when I first joined, I of course went to the corporate office, right?
Mhm.
It was at a different location. And of course you have to do the HR stuff. You have to meet the larger team.
That's called onboarding,
Yeah. Onboarding. And after that, like, I think it was literally like a week, 2 weeks in when they said, hey, we're going to send you right down to the other location, have you help out there. I wish they told me that I was going to be an asshole so that when I walk in there, I'd be like, I'm the asshole. Yeah. You want
Well,
some?
that's what I was
So
going to
that
say.
you would
Is
know
like,
your
did
role,
you not
right?
feel, sorry.
No, go.
I was going to ask, did you not feel like challenged a little bit? Because someone just kind of dropped this bad day on you. I mean, you're just kind of there and you just kind of like pass by. You're like, whoa, I just got bombed by this person. I don't even know them.
So in situations like that, especially, I would say I've never been exposed to something like that in the professional environment. But it's really those moments where you learn a lot about yourself. Like, how do you handle a brand new situation you've never been in? What are you capable of doing? Do you lock up and freeze, or do you maneuver a way out? So it was a learning moment for me. I don't know how it was for Henry there, but I certainly, after that entire experience and getting to know Henry and what he's about and understanding what his mission was, right? How he ticks. Then I started really reinventing myself to be able to operate and be successful in that environment. So I can say today, looking back, I walked away from it. I didn't crack. I didn't become an asshole. And I was able to thrive in that environment. All thanks to Henry. He made me the man I am today.
Mm-hmm.
The asshole. I don't even blink.
That's a deep cut right there.
Yeah,
I think
I'm gonna go find another word that will make him blush. I think Henry should say how he met Ernesto or Ernesto met Henry.
Okay, before we do that though, I don't want to leave Henry hanging. So I have mad respect for Henry and where he comes from. I think part of the frustration that he was showing that day, it's part of like who he is. And once you understand that, I learned to respect that, right? He's about practicality. He's about getting shit done. And so if anything, I learned that, all right, once you understand, by the way, he was my manager, right? So I had to understand what he wanted. Otherwise, I was getting my ass fired.
But you didn't report to me until much later, though.
I'm skipping forward, but at the end, that's what happened. We rode off into the sunset together,
Sure.
manager and employee. Okay,
That
That's all.
is such a cute ending. I love it. It's such a cute
No,
ending.
no, no. But then there's a sunrise again, though, because I ended up the role reversed because he became my boss.
Yeah. Now you can see our faces in the boat and rowing back towards you with the sun in the back.
I love it.
Yeah. No, I think no. I think I don't want to say I put Ken through a grinder. I think he also helped me understand how to be a better manager or a person in that sense. I think there's a lot of stuff that I learned throughout my days and time as we go. So, but I thank you for that too, Ken. But and I think as the time progresses, I think thank you for the heart. There we go. As time progresses, I think that of all of people here, I think Freddie is probably one of the people who'd never seen me, I guess, lash out at people. I think Ernesto took a little lashing from me a couple times.
Yo, brother, keep you still right here.
Oh wait,
right there.
now talk. You have to tell about Ernesto, like
No. So
because I
so indirectly, so so Ernesto and I as Ken and I, we departed from that company. I moved on, and then this is actually I met Ernesto, and I give him a lot of shenanigans in the early on because I'll be honest, I only heard his voice when I first met him because he was on the other side of the conference room, on somewhere else, and while everybody else is in the same room, I'm like, hey, this guy's on the other side. I mean, is he committed to this project? And is he committed to this team or not? And I question him all the time. So I'll leave it there, and that's so you can take it from there. How about that?
That's like a perfect foundation.
There we go.
Perfect foundation. No, seriously, I think at first I thought, what an asshole, because he keeps pushing and pushing, right? And I didn't know the dude. For a while, right, Henry? Not until I traveled up north and we finally had a meal together and sat down and we got to know each other a little bit more. And I was like, all right, he just wants the project to be as best as possible, right? So he's just pushing me to get to the answer opposed to being an a-hole, right? So I think after we actually had a face-to-face and actually had a conversation and got to know him a little bit more and was more than just, like he said, a voice over Zoom or whatever, right? I think at that point, it was like, okay, cool, right? That's fine. If he questions it, he's questioning for more than just to prove a point, right? He's questioning to improve the project. But later, like what, maybe a couple years, maybe a year later after that, right? He really was like, dude, he goes, listen, like you need to give me an answer. Like there's just like, why are you doing these things, right? Like until you can answer that, then you can kind of move on, right? But again, it wasn't out of like maliciousness, right? At the end of the day. That's our origin story.
Sure. Sure.
man, you guys are man. I'm super lucky. I'm super lucky. By the time I met Henry, he's like a little teddy bear. By the time it's like totally different. Like
You totally
but
had
that's
him
not. But that's not my
tamed and
That's
my
not
connection.
fair.
But But yeah, he's like beating up on you two. I feel so bad. Like if I had known you earlier, I could have just like helped blocked a little bit.
Freddie, you're not getting a fist bump from us.
Exactly. I don't need to. I don't need to have that blanket of like it's okay.
But actually, no. But Freddie, you and Ken know each other a lot longer because you guys work together a lot longer too.
So that's why I was like, I started at the company that Ken was working at. I was grinding, so I was like, I went from contractor to like full time, and went from full time to like product manager. I mean, it was just like slow climb, just grind. And so I met Ken because Ken was pretty high up at the time, but Ken was like super nice. So anytime you had a question, you'd be like, "Hey Ken, what is this?" And he goes, "Okay, when I have time, I'll talk about it." Or when he did have time, he would just break down things and be very patient, and he's always like super nice and just. And then when I got to know him more, because I didn't work in his vertical, I just needed to know information, and so yeah, it was like little by little, I just got to know him more and more through the years, and then. But like I always worked on the business side. Ken worked on the tech side. So it was like not a problem because I'm never gonna like step on his toes. I'm always just thirsting for knowledge. Like, hey, how do I do this so I'm bothering you less or bothering your team less or whatever it is. He always took the time to be able to like, help out, and I think that helped my growth because it was again like you all is because someone took time to give the patience and allow others to learn, and you just got to be humble to be able to like, hey, I don't know this, can you tell me? And luckily Ken was always super receptive, and I always saw it through like him and through his whole entire team, so I never felt like I was out of place or whatever. He had the same open door with everyone, so it was like very cool. And then when did you get hired back? Then Henry got hired back, and I was like, "Oh, hi, Henry's here." So this Henry showed up. Well, I don't know what year it was, but anyways, but Henry was the engineering manager, right? Like a dev manager. So, just like every work group, there's an engineering manager that like makes sure that there's people that doing the right things, their hours and everything else are not like killing them, and just overall like, from my point of view, again, I'm working on the business side, so I just work with Henry in a lateral thing. I'd be like, so we just worked a lot and just talked a lot. So it was like I never felt he drilled me, so I was like, that's fine. And I think the problem was every project I was on anyways was always on fire. So we're always like, we're just working hard no matter what. So it's not like there's time to say, you're not doing this. It was like, dude, we just don't have time to do everything. So, yeah.
Freddie, thank you for making me feel warm and fuzzy inside.
Hey, man, that's why everyone still wants to work for you. Don't worry.
No, I think one thing that I felt when we started working together more, we do reorgs like every couple of months, right? It was ridiculous. And a lot of times you would be set up to do stuff that you probably normally wouldn't do. But what I always respected about you was that you would just do it. You put on that hat and you just do it because it needed to be done.
So tired.
And I always respected that. But I think now that I know better and you didn't get reamed out by Henry, I respect you a little less.
I think in general, one of the things that major takeaway, my personal takeaway, is from skipping from one company to the next, to the next, to the next. I think who are the people who you will swing, you will back up, the people who you will stand by. And I think those are the people you will take with you. Doesn't matter where you go, because you'll go back and rely on them. It doesn't matter what company you're at, doesn't matter where you go. Right. These are people you're going to pick up a phone and call and say, hey, I need your help, and I guarantee you they'll be there for you.
But I think, Henry, I think that's a really good point. And I think that's one of the hardest things to try to gauge from someone, right? Like, and I'll ask this to all you guys, but like, how do you determine, like, what's that point where you're like, okay, I trust this person, to be able to your point, Henry, pick up the phone and be like, hey, I've got this question, or what do you think about this? Like, what is that point where it goes from asshole to I like this person?
I'll let other people
I
answer
said
first.
those. You get those two. That's you should answer that yourself, Ernesto, and Ken can answer that. I didn't. Like I said, it was a totally.
So for me, I think it comes down to the honesty, right? Like at the end of the day, like, if you're sincere and honest on what you're trying to accomplish, and your true north is like everything you're trying to do is because of that true north, I can get with that. I can get with that, right? And I think I was having this conversation with my wife earlier too, right? Like, there's a line between like the business side and then the personal side, right? And then I think when you're dealing like on the business side, once you try to stay away from the personal side, right? Like, don't take personal jabs. It's more about trying to break down the idea opposed to the person, right? And kind of once you get into like that personal side, you start talking shit. That's where it's like, yeah, no, right?
Yeah, I think for me, there's certainly that level of honesty and transparency, right? That it's one of those things that I absolutely respect as one of Henry's traits. But he also has tons of other traits. He may start off, right? We may have started off a bit rough, but human beings are complex, man. You can't gauge or judge a person just by one thing. And so I would have to quote like a really smart ogre once said, people are like onions. They have multiple layers to them. And that is absolutely true.
Hmm.
Oh,
Have you been on Shrek 4D? It's like a
no.
It's like
Do they have an onion section?
No, but like there's like you'll run through water in the little ride and they'll like splash water at you.
Oh,
yeah. Fourth dimension, man. Not just 3, a fourth. Sorry.
Real science.
That's I was gonna ask Henry, like how were you able to judge their character? Did it take a long time? Or mine? Or your I don't know.
No, I think for me it's actually very it's actually to a lot of people, from what I understand, and this is, I'll be honest, this is the part where I don't know. To me, a lot of this stuff is fairly easy and very straightforward. First, I've always said that I try to understand what people's strengths and weaknesses on, and just concentrate on the strength. And then I know that I mentioned this to all of you all the time, right? So I try to understand what people's strengths are. And then the second half of it is actually trying to understand what is their intent. I mean, I don't believe anybody has an ill intent. If they do, that's not the person you want to be with. You want to take with you anywhere. But if everybody has a good intent, that's where you say, hey, you know what? Are we on the same direction? Are we same north? Right? Is the same vision that we want to kind of hang out together on. And that's kind of how I see things, right? I think each one of us has the similar intent or a similar north that we all want to point at, or we all kind of want to work toward. We may not be a straight line, but we may be squiggly, but we all want to get toward the same direction. And that's kind of how I see each one of us.
Yeah, and no matter how squiggly that line is, you walk that walk, right? And I respect that. You it was funny because I always at many times when we were working together, I see that not just because you're my manager, but you see that Henry's working his ass off. And you're like, damn, I'm going to work my ass off, right? Because we are aligned, we have the same goals, we want to accomplish the same things, and Henry makes you want to be a part of that. It's something I want to steal from him and apply it to my own experience, right? And I want to have other people experience what I have. And that's part of what I mentioned earlier about you reinventing yourself when you are put up against a new situation and adversity. That's how you grow.
Like a flower.
That's again, this section of the podcast is a deep cut.
I was gonna say, so I'm gonna take it from a slightly from a level from Ken. I like one thing that we always talk about, that my friends and I, it's like you can trust those that you've suffered the same journey together in a way, because you all have to band together to then surpass some sort of obstacle, have to meet some sort of goal, and because you've all suffered, but you've all not just like suffered, you all have collectively tried to like help each other to not suffer, right? Like to help each other pass that goal. That is one thing that I've found has brought people together very close, in general, for many things. So like, because the journey itself brings you together, like,
But I will question the intent, because and the reason why I use the word intent is because I may want to reach the same goal as you, but at the end of the day, I will chop your legs off and then be the king at the end of the day.
Wow,
that's what's the difference.
Well, well, I would say destiny. Destiny is the difference.
No.
Yeah,
because you know how many hours you spent playing Destiny.
Sure, but yeah, no, it's an intent. I still go back to the word intent at the end of the day, in my mind.
So side trivia. That's what I was bringing in. Side trivia. Ken, Henry, and myself. We all worked together at the same time at one point.
Yep.
We also spent quite a bit amount of time playing Destiny, like on the PlayStation. And so we had a raid group, spent hours like on Sunday morning, like defeating dungeons and playing, video games with each other. So that is side trivia.
That is something I didn't know.
Yeah.
That is really, really cool.
So Ernesto, this is one of the weirdest thing that we did actually. So we couldn't play late at night because we have either family duties or we have whatever duties you call it. So the only time we get to play is 6 a.m. So we were all wake our ass up and be at
6 a.m. on Sunday. 6 a.m. Sunday.
Oh, no.
That's horrible. Oh my God.
And that's the only time we get to play and to enjoy each other's company and give each other shit. And it's Sunday morning at 6 a.m.
Wow. That's a whole different level. That's a different level of commitment there. I love it.
I wouldn't say it that way, but sure. But yeah. But I think I think out of all of us, I have to say though, I mean, I think Ernesto, you and I probably know each other the shortest time. I guess the question to you, why did you trust me? I guess because I know I give you a lot of shit, and because it's just my honesty and it's my feedback. But why did you? I don't want to use the word trust because I think trust may be a little bit too much. Maybe I don't know. I'll leave that to you. But why would you say, "Hey, I'm okay with this guy"?
Can I toss in a guess?
Yeah. Oh,
Because
yeah.
you two, you like Ernesto, you mentioned the dinner. It must have been hell of a dinner.
I think
Dry
it was
aged
lunch.
steak,
I
maybe?
think it was lunch. I think it was lunch. It was like one of those
Mr. Pickles. It was like it's like Subway. Henry's like, I'll buy it. Yeah, you can have cheese on it. It's cool.
It was one of those. Yeah, avocado, $1 extra. You're good, man. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
Okay,
It's all
fine. I'll give you a
like-
bag of chips too.
Right. Yeah. Damn. Why? That's a really
Oh,
hard
you never
question.
thought about this.
No, I didn't. And so I think this goes back to your point, Henry, though, right? Like it's more of an intuitive, right? Like I think earlier you said it was easy, right? But I think it's because that intuition from your side comes a little bit more natural, right?
Okay.
So I think intuitively,
Ooh.
the questions that you were asking in the direction that you were pushing, even though at first might have seemed counterintuitive, right? After thinking it through, it made sense, right? So I think it's being able to ask the hard question, but for the right reason,
Okay.
I think. Right?
Okay.
being
no,
challenged correctly.
So no. So
Yeah, I think.
okay.
right?
So Ernesto, I will hold you on. I will. I mean, you can put a pause on that. You can think about it because I think up to this point, I think Ken and I have been talking quite a bit about the reason why Ken trusted me because I call him a fucking asshole. So same question to you, Freddie. Why do you trust me?
I don't know.
See, it's a hard question. It's a hard question to answer, right? So,
Because I've judged your character, to tell you the truth.
And he was
judge
pretty
my-
good in Destiny.
He's all right.
Wait, but what's your, but,
I was only all right. Thanks.
it was all right.
Just
All right,
like-
so I have
I'm just
to,
playing.
I have to
But-
talk about that. So
What?
Freddie,
What? Okay, go ahead. You can talk. You go ahead. Ask.
you were the best player, right? In our
Because
fire team, because I think it's because of your military background.
No, because he played
definitely
the
not.
most.
What's that?
He played
What?
the most.
Right. Because
Is that
why?
right?
Okay. Henry's
You're
on the
ruining
dot.
it for me.
No, it's nothing to do with that. It's nothing. It's because I played video games forever. It's not because of military at all. It's because I played I still play video games. Like I just finished God of War, like on the PS5. So it's just like I do still play video games. I would like stream video games if I had a better like setup. But anyways, the reason that Henry said was absolutely correct is the amount of time that I was able to dedicate to the game and play. And so this was one raid group. I had another raid group. So I had two different groups. So of this group, it was 6 a.m. on Sundays, right? This is the only time I could play with these guys. So I was like, I'll play with you. It's cool. The other times I would play, Friday night, Saturday night, Thursday night after my other practice of other stuff, Wednesday night if I had time. So I put in quite amount of time to just play the game, period. And so, yes, I played with them. And I actually had another group that I literally would finish at, 2 a.m. with some guys or 1 a.m. on Saturday night. And then Sunday,
Freddie,
play with them on Sunday and then go to go about my day.
It took me a long time to get over that concept. Because we had another fire team member that did that. And the first time I caught wind of it, I almost felt like we were cheated on.
I was gonna
Like,
ask
you
that.
did
That's
what?
exactly what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
Are we not good enough for you?
It's not that
Right?
you're not good enough. It's that I wanted to play more, and then you only have a certain amount of time. So, and the hard part is each raid group at the time is 6 people, and so getting 6 people together as adults, getting 6 people together is tough. And so it's just, yeah. So luckily I have like a large enough group of friends where it's like, oh yeah, you'll play. Now that group of friends that play games have shrunk like significantly. So
All I can say was Henry and I were true to each other. We never drifted to any other fire team.
no, it's incorrect. I think that's incorrect. Now, the reason I say that is because at some point, both of the different raid groups were missing the right amount of people. And that's when we started to mix a little bit because you're missing people. So we were like, hey, can you join? And I remember like some of us would join here and there. And so we had a little bit of mix, not a lot. Some of those connections didn't work. Now, I'm going to go to how video games did make some great connections that I did have before that, well before that. Like when I was much younger, there was a game called SOCOM. Actually, SOCOM 2 is when I started playing that type of game. This was like very early into multiplayer video games where you can actually play. And it wasn't a first person shooter. It was actually like a third person shooter. So you see the character, but then you aim in, you can see a little reticle and blah blah blah. Lots of fun. We were back then playing on the PlayStation 2 at the time, and we had friends like enough friends that played it where if you're on or off, like we had enough where sometimes you would play with this, this person or that person, but our team was way big enough that all of us could play, at different times. At the time, here's the crazy stuff. They had no party chat. So you're like, how do you talk to each other? Like, how do you actually connect and blah, blah, blah. So we all had cell phones.
They'd call each other.
And so cell phones, you can call each other. You can three-way each other and connect the chain. So it's like, if I had a three-way call between myself, Henry, and Ken can then call another person because he's like a third person onto his call, right? So you can chain together a bunch of calls this way by calling each other's phones. The problem that you run into is that at the time, cell phones and cell phone service was very expensive. And you're paying for the minutes that you're actually on the phone talking, which you are still now, but like it's like now you could talk on the phone forever. They don't care. It's the amount of like data that you're actually sending is way more expensive. They can charge way more. So, but you can't text at the time because your thumbs are on the joystick, on the pad, and you can't text. So we're all calling each other, So to get away from actually paying for the minutes that we're using, cell phones at the time, because the bulk of minutes was used at a certain time during the day, the off hours were free. So gaming sessions always started very late at night because now we could call each other for very free, go through the whole thing. Hours and hours upon and then generations of games through generations of consoles. Have some friends that kind of dropped off, but have kept some very close friends through the many years. And then when I look back on it, it's like, now it's like 20 years. And at one point I had played games with someone for like 5 or 6 years, not met them once. And then finally met them like face to face at dinner again. Not these guys, but it was just, oh my God, this is what you look like. And now there's more and more stories now. It's very much more common where you'll meet someone online and then maybe meet someone in person or at least video chat or something like that. But to us, we were just kind of geeking out and having fun. And, so it's never foreign to me. Like when people have raid groups and are playing games together and doing stuff, it's not foreign because I myself do it, right? Like that's how you have community around friends that again are around a certain like goal or a certain hobby or certain thing that you like to do.
So that's pretty cool. That's I think there's certainly we know other people that have gone through that experience too, like being online and being comfortable in meeting other people to play games like that. I don't know if it's like a generational line or you have to have a certain level of comfort, right, to be able to reach out and find people, especially strangers, and be able to talk and play together. That's a concept that haven't quite been comfortable with me yet. I think I'm just too old. But all I can say, Freddie,
but
One Ring, one rating.
Wait, you guys gave each other rings?
No, that's why I was like, what are you
What?
talking about? That is not.
No.
That is a terrible.
No, but
Does your wife know you wear that ring instead?
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, deny.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, like, it's a lot of stuff online is very toxic, so it's just it can go south very quickly. So it was tough, but that's where curation or being having integrity and just like talking to people and actually telling like, hey, that's not right to say, or that's let's try to keep in line so we all have fun together, otherwise you can't play together, right? It's just everyone wants to have fun, right? No one wants to be no one wants to be dogged on necessarily. I know things can get competitive, and there are competitive games and there's competitive gaming and stuff like that, and that's fine. It's just, how do you take out that anger, or how do you take that frustration? And sometimes it can go pretty south pretty quickly.
Have you guys seen any of those kids that end up breaking their monitors or their PCs or their keyboards?
Is this a thing?
Because oh my god, there's like Fortnite, right? They're going at it, and because they lose, they end up just blah, like at the monitor, or they pick up their keyboard and just blah, right? And they end up just fucking it all up. And it's like, I mean, if you're streaming, right, I'm pretty sure you got a decent PC, which is, I don't know, upwards of
A lot of money.
a lot of money, right? And for you to just, and then I'm pretty sure maybe your parents bought it for you, right? For you to just turn around and just smash the monitor or smash the PC, man, it's different, right? Like, I remember playing, I remember losing. I'm like, all right, cool, all right, on to the next game, right?
You have to lose. You have to lose to learn, though, and that's an interesting thing that you just said. That yes, competitively, we always want to win all the time, but there's a couple of different things when you actually play, right? When you play and you play together, right? And I think that's where it comes out. Like, can you lose? Can you learn to lose because you want to be able to play with the person again, right? If you
That's just it, learning to lose,
right?
That's
like it's like you got to be able to say, hey, the other thing about losing is learning from why did you lose, which is okay too. Like, it's to show you different angles, different perspectives, different things that you can do, different different ways of solving problems. And so with video games, it's great because the problems are always changing. So you got to remember quite a bit to be able to do it. But the other thing is, you can't always be the best. There's always going to be someone that is the best, and that's another thing too.
For sure.
That whatever you're doing, there's always someone that's going to be doing it better. That's like a thing that you have to be able to grow and learn, because it will always be true. It's like,
I think people that
maybe, unless you're Steph Curry, maybe, I don't know.
So a lot of people react physically that way when they are upset or frustrated. It comes down to one thing, right? It's a loss of self-control under duress, under emotional duress. And whether it is smashing a keyboard, or if you're frustrated at other people, like, would you lash out at other people too, right? You're directing your anger at something. And I think, come on, gamers have no place getting physical. The only things that should get physical are these things. That's it. Smash that keyboard all you want with your fingers. But it is something that I think learning how to lose gracefully, it's something that I think personally should be taught in school. should be taught all around to the younger generation. We should set up situations where kids learn how to lose and learn from that experience. Knowing that, I think, is the very basic to human learning and again, reinventing yourself over time.
But I also think that the loot in our society today is always about winning, right? We don't necessarily celebrate the losers. We don't celebrate the fact that, you know, you failed. I think that's one of the biggest problems that we as a society, we always talk about the winners. We never talk about the losers, right? And is a fundamental issue. So that's why we don't lose gracefully. You know, it's also, I hate to say it, it's also part of the American history up to some point, right? I mean, we till this day, I still see things where people make fun of the French because they surrendered during World War II, right? And while U.S. is the one who came in, they always go, we never surrendered, we still fought on. And to me, is that we don't understand what the situation that had caused them to do that. So I think those are kind of stuff that is the educational side of things, which I agree, which we need to teach people about.
But is it wrong? It's not wrong to be competitive.
It's not, but the whole point is being competitive it actually necessarily means you're okay with losing, because nobody comes out of the gate being a winner. All the winners that we talk about and celebrate, they were losers before they got there.
But I'm still going to challenge that I only challenge that like competitiveness. Some people, some things are competitive. They are competitive, and that drives them to be great at what they are, because they don't like to lose.
So you can look at some of the tech leaders out there, right? They don't like to lose. The Mark Zuckerbergs, all those guys. But what they learn to do is to fail fast,
because they are
to
a
lose.
robot and they don't know how to.
Well, sure.
Beep, boop, beep, boop.
It was a 1 or 0 quick. That's why I was like 1 0 0 1 0. Oh, okay.
No, but I'll ask. I mean, how do you? I mean, Ernesto and Ken. I mean, you guys have the one with kids. How do you guys teach your kids to do that? I mean, I have a lot of thoughts about the tech leaders and all that stuff, but you know, one of the things that I have to say, it is okay to be number 2.
Honda was number 2 for the longest time, and they did very well.
Right. I mean, people will always shoot for the number 1. Nobody will shoot for number 2. In some cases, number 2 is safer, if you ask me.
Yeah. Well, I think I can't remember who you guys said this, right? But like, it might have been you, Henry. We don't celebrate the failures, I think, enough, right? And I think that's the one thing, at least for my oldest, because he's at that point, right? He's competing, you know, competitively. He's playing competitive basketball now, right? And he's at the point where he sees LeBron James and he sees, you know, Anthony Davis and Michael Jordan and these huge like personalities, right? Where it's just like on the court while they're playing, just, you know, go, right? And that's all they like. I feel like that's what he sees, and that's all he sees. He doesn't see all the failure, all the disappointments, all the missed shots, all the, you know, hours and hours and hours of training, all the sore feet, all the blisters, right? All that shit, right? You don't see, because they don't televise that.
But that's not,
right?
I don't think that's losing. I think that's just work. That's just all work.
Right. No. 100%. 100%.
It's all work. Now
there is a point of failure though.
Now,
right?
you will, like, yes, that's the thing, is in that whole journey there are successes and failures, but you know, the whole point of that is that you still have to keep driving, right? Like, learn from the failure so that you can get more successes. And
right, but I think what I'm trying to get at is what they see is just a success. right? Not everything leading up to that point, right? And the expectation is greatness, right? But it's like, nah, dude, yeah, you got to work your ass off, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's true for everything, not just basketball, right? Like whatever, for everything, right? Like you got to put that, like you were saying, Freddie, earlier, right? Like you were grinding your ass off to move on up, right?
Yeah, if I mean, it comes down to, I mean, that's I was never gonna get to like a competitive state of playing games. It's just I just know that the amount of time played does it's just, any other skill. The amount of time that you put into it allows you to get better at it. Period. And that's why I always go back to the hard work part of that. Hard work mostly ends up with success. Sometimes there is failure in it, but failure is to get you towards success. But there's always hard work. Oh, I don't know the person who said it, or I just have somewhat of the context, but it's to be a master at something, to have mastered, sorry, not be a master, to have mastered something, you have to put in 10,000 hours. So, to have mastered playing piano, you have to put it in about 10,000 hours of just practice. This is not talking about and playing. It's not talking about like, I could just start playing. No. Very few people have some talent at the beginning to just start. That is natural talent, but from there, it must take quite amount of time and effort to master it. And but then also, if you think about that, that allows you to then take things that you want to be able to learn or do or try to master, and tells you like, if I put a lot of hours, I will get there. You may not be the best, but you may have mastered it, right? Like you've mastered how to do it, how to play, what these things are, so yeah.
I always tell my kids when I play a sport or a really good example I have, and my kids see this from me. I've been playing ping pong for a while, right? Ever since when we worked together and we got the ping pong table. You know what? I think I bought the ping pong table for the company. Any case, I was pretty competitive, but what I love to tell my kids is this. I love playing with people who are better than me because I will get to learn from them. And one day I may beat them. And I've seen this play out the other way around when I stopped working at that company. But I had a ping pong table and I had a friend come over, and he certainly wasn't as good as me at that time. He can never beat me. He's never beat me, not even come close. But he'll call me up and say, "Hey, Ken, let's play ping pong this weekend." I'm like, "Sure, come on over." And I thought he would just come over, we'll hang out, play ping pong for an hour, and then, he'll be on his merry way. But no, it was nonstop, 4 hours that he played. And I was like, wow, he just keeps wanting to do it. And I so admired that. And I still wouldn't lose to him, but I know in my mind, if he keeps this up, one day he will beat me. And I will come in, right? After 4 hours of ping pong, dude, you're soaked, you're drenched. And I would tell my kids, I'm like, kiddos, come hug me. They're like, "Hey, Dad." Oh, gross. You know what that is? That is hard work. You look at my friend there. That's what he put me through because he wants to beat me. He wants to get better. That's the work that you have to put in. And everything we're talking about, like, I don't want to focus in on the losing part. I think it's highly related to the hard work that we don't see, that we don't present more to our kids. Because when you're working hard, that means that you have a goal. That means you want to be better at something, better than someone, whatever that is. You're pushing yourself to the next level. And it's that hard work that enables you to do that. When we went to the Warriors practice and you see Steph Curry, you're like, why is Steph Curry so awesome? Well, look at him. He's shooting like 500 3-pointers during practice for 4 hours. What do you call that? That's hard work in practice. But anywho's, I want to come back and answer Henry's question because we're almost up, and we
didn't get to question 2 yet.
one question tonight.
I'm
happy with that.
Next
I'm
week.
happy with that.
That's next week.
But I think I want to answer.
We need hold on before you go there. I think we need a. This is so serious. You need to pick a. You need to pick a more controversial topic.
What, a hot take?
I don't know.
Must me? Wait. Why does it have to be controversial? We can have fun
Only
with
because we have different perspectives.
No, we can all have the same perspective.
Yeah. Hard work is overrated. Go ride the tailcoats of your talented buddies.
So I was gonna say, so a different perspective. And here's the thing: is hard work, and here's something that was hard for me to learn. Though is just because you put in hard work doesn't mean that you will gain success. Because you have to know if you're doing the work in the right direction. You have to know if you're doing the work correctly. And another thing is you have to put yourself in the position to do so. I only learned this.
Henry shook his head.
You're right.
He shook his head.
I did.
Controversy.
No, I think a lot of it has also one other parameter that I would add in there. What you said, Freddie, is luck. It's luck, because a lot of it. I mean, and then I will bring this all. Okay, or Ernesto, you go ahead.
Controversy.
Wait, but luck. But no, hold on. Luck is just good timing and preparation.
Preparation, yes, but timing also, yes. I mean, luck is something which you have to create luck yourself. I think that's what you're trying to get at, right, Ernesto?
Yes, exactly. Like I think it's a combination of what Freddie's saying. You got to put you got to put that grind in. Right?
Sure.
But at the same time, even if you put that grind in, and your timing is poor,
right,
doesn't matter.
It's like,
right?
I could be the best 3-point shooter, but I am 65. It didn't matter.
Exactly, right? Or you're just never in front of the right coach or the right person, right? To get you to, yes, gentleman with the glasses in the back, go ahead.
Controversy. Okay, timing. There is timing that is within your control that contributes to your definition of luck. And there's timing that's outside of your control, where you can prepare all you want, but if you're in the wrong environment and you don't have the right connections, you're not going to get lucky very often.
100%. Exactly. Yes, you're right. And oh god, this could go in.
I was gonna say there's so many. I have so many. I have so much philosophy rolling through my head right now. Like we could take this so many different directions, because like another perspective, maybe like just to think about it, is you only need to do enough work to get to what you need, because anything else is a wasted effort.
There's a term for that.
Yeah.
There's a term for that, right? Oh god, what is that term?
Work smart, not hard.
No, yeah, I mean, yes.
No, I'm not gonna take the Scrooge McDuck, but you know,
There's economic from economy economics. God, what is that term?
Okay.
Well, I think about it. Go on.
You think about it. I'll round back to a classic example. Let's just say my friend who wants to get better at ping pong wants to beat me. Reason why he plays me is because I'm better than him, and he can get better working with me. But if he chooses one of his buddies that's just mediocre or maybe at the same level, they can play all day long they want. His progression would not be as fast. So coming back to your point, Freddie, if he had to choose between playing with me to get better versus his mediocre buddy, working smart, right? Also working hard means that he would play with me. That's an example of being smart and willing to put in the work at the same time.
but what if he doesn't enjoy playing with you? then his progression would not be very high.
Are you saying I'm an asshole?
Wait,
at
did you
ping
just?
pong?
Oh, you beat me by 2 seconds, Ken.
I'm just.
My connection's faster. Sorry. But gentlemen, we are almost up on time. I do seriously want to get back to Henry's question about when, for me personally, I started to trust him. I think for me, it's pretty simple. Trust takes time to build. You can never arrive there quickly, right? It takes time. And I think on day one, when he called me a fucking asshole, I had no trust of Henry. But over the course of us working together, I see examples, I see evidence, I see things that he does that compound each other and add up to how I would measure somebody. And when you see somebody doing exactly what they say they want to do, and then pulling you along for the ride, and he will set you up to say, hey, if we do this, this would happen, right? Trust me on this. And when that does happen and you put in the work, a little bit of trust, and you keep repeating that over time, and you get to discover more about a person, you peel back the layers of the onion, more and more respect piles on. And then at some point you're like, okay, you've earned enough respect from me. I have no more to give you. And you're like, whatever you say goes, man.
100%, I agree, for sure. I think to wrap it up, it's walking the walk, not just talking it, right? Because I think that's really the difference between I mean, even between people that are successful and people that aren't, right? Like, just, I mean, you could have someone in who appears to be successful, right, and is putting that front up, and all they're doing is just yapping their mouth and just talking shit, opposed to putting, like you said, Freddie, right, putting that work in, right, and just grinding away and you know, improving themselves, right? So I think that's the difference right there, right?
I think the just like, I'll be honest, I personally do not like Elon Musk, for example, but he does a talk, but he also does a walk. He actually achieves what he says he's gonna do. That's why I respect him a lot, even though I don't necessarily like him, but I respect him. I have the utmost respect for him for that.
All right, Elon, you heard that, man. You got mad love from this channel. We do for you, you do for us, man.
So we'll make sure to reach out to Elon's people so that he can get on the podcast next week, right?
Sure.
That's
yeah.
the goal. All right, cool.
Love to talk to the guy.
You never know. If you invite him, he may show up out of just because he's just no idea. So Elon,
That's true.
you show up. If you do, we'll have a bevy of questions for you. Just to get to know you, you know.
All right, everyone, that was an awesome conversation. I think we went pretty deep, maybe uncomfortably deep at times, but that's how we roll. All right, so fellas, thank you. That was fun as usual. Peace.
You only got the one.
Catch you next week.
We did.
Do we need to
but
stop recording?
But the good thing is, no, not yet. Maybe.
Sure.
Okay, but the good thing is we still have a list of questions.
We do.
Is it pretty long? It's pretty long, huh?
Oh, thank God we have
You should find a
material
pretty
to work
funny one. You
with.
should find some funny ones.
I've got there's a couple good ones.
Yeah.
There's a couple good ones here.
How do y'all like Friday night? Is it all right? Easier?
Dude,
Same.
can we say good night to our fellas first, like to our audience out there? Okay.
What? I thought you said you were done.
It's still, look at the top left corner. It's still recording.
What the F, yo? Oh, well. You can all stay with me. I'll hang out with you all
Hey,
night.
Freddie, take two.
No, wait.
Yes. And we're out.